Yes, I know America wanted the oil from Iran, and yes, I know UK wanted it, and MI6, and
the United States has been consistent. I know we wanted the oil.
I mean, it's just typical because there is like this alternate reality where it's okay for the US, the UK, the Western world to want to intervene in Iran and get away with it. But when they have problems, then it's on them. And the thing is, the reason, I'll answer his question, the reason there was no problems, no wars in Iran, because there were plenty of problems, but there were no wars in Iran going on, is because the US needed Iran to be this way. They needed to control Iran. They needed to have a hold on Iran. And that's why would they have a war with that? That's exactly what they need. Well, I think it's very obvious to anybody who's been paying attention that the United States and Israel are working in cohesion. In fact, the United States and Israel have both, but especially Israel, made it very clear that the objective is to push the Greater Israel Project. Yeah. And in fact, when you look at what General Wesley Clark was told about the 7 countries in 5 years, you see that Iran is the last bastion. It is the last man standing there. And Iran is so significant, not just as a powerful military, geopolitical, mighty country, but as the resistance. Iran is the resistance in many ways. It's not the only facet, but it is a major facet of it. And what I think is happening here, the reason Israel attacked is because Iran was going to have this meeting with them in Oman with the United States and try to negotiate something. And in Iran right now, what many people may not know is that there is a sort of politically a fission, a divide between the liberal contingent that seeks to have more normalized relations with the United States, and then the resistance contingent that wants absolutely no going back to that because they understand where that eventually ends up. And you can see that in the president, Pezeshkian, and at times the foreign minister also as well, and how they push diplomacy even when the United States and co do not deserve such diplomacy. And so what you end up having is a very vulnerable state at that time, which is what I think in part led to Israel being able to infiltrate with the level that it did. However, Iran has survived. It is an old, it's an old nation. It has a history. It has survived. It has thrived. It has had everything thrown on it. So it is not the same as, say, Syria, though I will say that the comparisons are there because people saw how quickly the West was able to utilize what they had to overthrow Bashar al-Assad, even after years of Bashar al-Assad defeating them and being able to contain them. And so when you look at Iran, you see, wow, they're a mighty political power. They have powerful allies, but also there is now this opportunity for the West to come in and attempt to subvert it from the inside. Because what the United States, and I think you know this, always tries first is regime change. And they've tried the social justice issue way with Iran by talking about women's rights and so on and so forth. And when they couldn't do it that way, they then have gone on to killing the leadership of Iran. And not just Iran, but we saw, of course, with Hassan Nasrallah in Lebanon. It is across the spectrum of the leadership of the resistance. And one by one, they're trying to eliminate them because they know if they do, then what's going to happen is you're going to have a weakened state. Excuse me. And so now I think that's where we're at, right? We're seeing that Iran has a decision to make as to how they will react. And you're also seeing how the United States and Israel, because the United States knew, Donald Trump knew, they all knew they have been salivating to go to war with Iran. And we have the most Zionist administration here, the most Zionist administration in our history, really at the helm.
Yeah, that very great analysis, and I'm glad you were able to join us. I know you're feeling pretty sick, and that's exactly why we had to have you, because you explain these things in multiple dimensions instead of just the 2D lazy analysis we get from the West. And one of the a lazy analysis you would get from places like Al Jazeera and other places were the people who were cheering for regime change in Syria. And you brought up something very interesting, which made me go on this little tangent here, because I saw this earlier. So I had to find it to see. I was trying to find. I'm gonna find some more articles. I'm planning on diving more into this. So this is very unconfirmed right now. To give you guys a heads up, I saw this floating around on Twitter. I will confirm it more officially soon. But apparently, Jelani of Syria has allowed Israel to use Syrian airspace to intercept missiles. Now, this is not confirmed, but this sounds legit, because what did Jelani say as soon as he took power in Syria? He said he want Iran, not the United States, not Israel, but he want Iran to pay reparations because they supported the Assad regime. He wasn't asking for the United States and Israel, who was stealing the wheat, the water, and the natural resources of Syria. That was immediate red sign that this guy was a Zionist puppet. It still blows my mind. Maybe I'm missing some cultural context or something, but to me, it blows my mind that anyone who supported the resistance, the Free Palestine movement in any capacity would cheer this on. And I see a lot of people who are, to be fair to them, are regretful. I've seen a few people that say, oh man, I regret supporting this regime, but to me, it was 100% obvious. Now, before you reply, I want to get a video, and there's a reason why I'm going down this tangent, because you brought up a great point about there are Iranian liberals in the diaspora. Let me be careful with my words, but their mind has been colonized. That's the nicest thing I can put. That's the nicest way I can put it. They want the United States to overthrow their government. They want Western values to be instilled in their country, because women don't have the right to create OnlyFans accounts, because they want in a McDonald's in Iran. Like, for real, I am not bullshit. I know that may sound fucked up, but their Western feminism destroyed their minds. Like, Western propaganda destroyed their minds, and they want the Iranian regime to fall. And I pray to God, I'm so scared that it doesn't happen. So let me shut up. I'll play this video, and Fiorella, you can respond to everything that we talk about, what I said here. But I'm glad, because this woman put out a very base video, pretty much describing my fears as someone who don't live in the region, of Iranian people betraying their own. So let's play the video. It's very short, and then Fiorella, feel free to respond.
Example of how hate will rot your brain from the inside out are Iranian Zionists. Your hatred for the Iranian government outweighs your love for Iran and Iranian people so much that if Mahsa Nikah Hadis had been killed by an Israeli bomb, you would sit here justifying it, because you are sitting here and justifying it. And that makes you sick. You're literally sick.
Any response? It's literally crazy to me, Fiorella, that anyone. I will say that as a stupid American, I guess, because I'm lacking cultural. I will admit that I'm an ignorant American, but to me, it's crazy that what I saw in Syria. It's crazy that there's any division in Iran. But Fear, anything you want to respond to on this?
Yeah, I think it's insane when you have been to Iran and you see women without the headscarf, because it's not the whole thing. It's a headscarf that, you're supposed to wear. And in a lot of the restaurants that I was in and a lot of the cafes, women take it off. I mean, it's not even real. That's the thing. It's like, I get so tired of telling people this, including family members, and I've shown videos, and it's still like, yeah, but they said they killed this girl, blah blah blah. It's like, well, that didn't really happen, right? Like, it's really sad, but I don't think it's as powerful for people in Iran. It's geared towards people outside the West.
Yeah.
And what I mean by that is, it's like,
yeah,
it's not effective. You know what I mean?
Yeah. There's no need to say the name, but there was an activist who joined Amnesty International. They used to support RBN. They joined Amnesty International. Then on a dime, all of a sudden they started smearing me as an Iranian propagandist. There was Iranian. They're like, oh, you're a fascist, authoritarian adjacent. I'm pretty sure they probably smeared you too. A very jihad adjacent account. And they was Iranian. There's these like liberal Iranian people who are like, they hated. They went from being an RBN supporter, then they hated my guts because I didn't support sanctions on Iran. I spoke out against Western feminism and liberal feminism as a whole. You're like, oh, you just a propagandist of the Iranian regime. I don't want to blow this activist up too much, but that was like my first personal run-in with these people. Ever since then, that was like maybe 2-3 years ago. Ever since then, I was noticing, and these Iranian diaspora people are some of the most unhinged. It's like the Chinese American liberals who hate, like the Gordon Changs of the world. People like that exist for Iran. And I also in my comments mentioned this guy, so I'm gonna bring this clip, and I want us to destroy this propaganda. Cause I saw this clip; it was so lazy. This is what's this guy? Patrick Bet David. I remember Nico went off on this guy one day. To me, just another like Fox News style pundit, another brain dead right winger. You know what I mean? To me, this is Fox News going podcast. You know what I mean? The establishment knew that young white men listen to podcasts more than cable news. So instead of hiring Patrick David as a Fox News anchor, he's got a podcast doing the same shit. It's the same damn thing. So he is here to explain, and I'm transitioning to this because I think it's a great explanation on many of the Iranian American diaspora. And he's explaining why Americans should invest and support war with Iran. I'm gonna play this 2 minutes. I'm gonna play as much as I can do. This is hard because there's so much bullshit wrapped in. But I'll play and then we chime in.
The person that was born in Iran. Yeah.
See, this is what they always do. This is immediately how they get credibility among white people who want to see Arab countries bombed. I'm from this country, and we want you to overthrow and liberate the people. Anyway, sorry. Let me play, and then I'll let you respond. But I'll let it play.
As a person that was born in Iran, yes, I can't stand this regime. Yes, they've called the only thing that's been persistent and consistent is the following. When the Shah was in Iran, did Israel already exist?
Yes.
Yes or no?
Mm-hmm.
Was Israel causing chaos? Was there war in the Middle East? Let me say this one more time. When Iran was ran by the Shah, what year was the Shah of Iran? What years did he run Iran?
53 through 79. I think.
Okay, 53 is the oil consortium. So 54 is the oil consortium.
41
to 79.
Oh, wow.
Because he started at 21 years old. Young man, right?
I'm gonna let it keep playing, but if you guys don't understand the batshit crazy thing he's saying right now, he is yearning for the days of the Shah that was backed by the United States, who had torture black sites, secret police, torture dungeons for the Iranian people. He's describing this era of the reign of terror of the Shah as peaceful. I'm gonna let it continue, but you guys see how crazy that is to say.
41 to 79. When did Israel become a nation?
48.
Yeah.
Okay, so check this out. Why is it that between 48 to 79, while the Shah was the king of Iran, running Iran, why is it for 31 years there is no major war in the Middle East? Why is that? So to the people that want to say it's all Israel's fault, how come there wasn't that in Iran for 31 years? I'm curious. Answer that question for me. And why is it from 79,
he's killing
the
it.
Mullahs, the Hezbollahs, the IRGC, all these guys.
I'm gonna let it finish, and then Fiorella, you can respond. I'm gonna let the video finish because this is tough.
The Khomeinis, all of them took over. Why has there been chaos in the Middle East since 79? Whose fault is that? America's been consistent. Yes, I know America wanted the oil.
America has been
I know
consistent.
UK wanted it, and MI6 and CIA and all this stuff.
At
And yes,
war.
also I'm aware that the Shah didn't trust Israel. The Shah didn't trust, what.
I'm gonna stop it there. Listen to what he just said. I'm gonna play this part again. What he just said, he is fighting for his life, making this argument. He's like, yeah, the United States has been considering. Yeah, we wanted a little bit of oil. Yeah, we did a little bit of regime change. Yeah, we destabilized a little bit, but we've been consistent. I'm gonna play this part one more time, then I want you to respond, Fiorella. Holy shit!
America's been consistent. Yes, I know America wanted the oil from Iran, and yes, I know UK wanted it, and MI6, and
The United States has been consistent. I know we wanted the oil. Fiorella, anything you want to respond to, we move on. We don't have to dread on the video too long, but anything you want to add?
Well, I mean, it's just typical because there is like this alternate reality where it's okay for the US, the UK, the Western world to want to intervene in Iran and get away with it. But when they have problems, then it's on them. And the thing is, the reason, I'll answer his question, the reason there was no problems, no wars in Iran, because there were plenty of problems, but there were no wars in Iran going on, is because the US needed Iran to be this way. They needed to control Iran. They needed to have a hold on Iran. And that's why would they have a war with that? That's exactly what they need. And this is why Iran is so important right now. This is why if Iran falls, the resistance falls. And people need to understand that if Iran falls, the resistance falls. The pretty much what's left, not just to save Palestine and Gaza, but to basically continue the fight against greater Israel, falls. And they know that. In fact, the Abraham Shields Project, which is something that I've written about and talked about, is something that relies on the Gulf states. We're talking about Saudi Arabia, Qatar, all of these countries, Egypt, Jordan, that are being weaponized to be used against Iran, against the resistance. This is part of the greater Israel plan to keep them from doing anything for Gaza, but also allowing the expansion of Israel. And now you have Syria that was collapsed. So now that's it. And Lebanon has been infiltrated, of course, with Mossad, with a lot of intelligence from the West in general. And you have Hezbollah, but Hezbollah isn't the only occupying force there. So you really have a situation where if there is any time for Iran to go after Israel and not stop, it is now. This is it. Because a lot of people like Scott Ritter and others are arguing that having nuclear weapons for Iran is a bad thing and will lead to war. But the reality is, if Iran had nuclear weapons, this whole thing wouldn't have happened. They wouldn't have attacked them. In fact, as long as any country has nuclear weapons, while the United States, the UK, and all of these major warmongering countries have them also, that's the only way they will protect themselves. Because nobody's talking about the Samson option that Israel has on the table. If Iran doesn't do what they say, if they don't come to the negotiating table again after being betrayed, what's going to end up happening is they're going to try to actually go after Iran militarily to a degree of nuclear capacity. And if that happens, it's not just going to be Iran, it's going to be Yemen. It's going to be the entirety of the resistance. So what people need to understand is this is really what people like Patrick Bet-David are out there to do, is to put the onus on Iran, a country that's constantly been attacked, vilified. It has some of the strongest propaganda I have ever witnessed, some of the strongest lies, more than Russia, more than a lot of countries. There's so many lies about Iran that if you go to Iran, you will be blown away by just how far from the truth that is, especially as a woman, as somebody that once would consider myself a feminist. What these people are doing with this bullshit third wave feminism is pretty much allowing that to be weaponized to manufacture consent for war and for killing women, children, and the future abroad, and patting themselves on the back because someone wore jeans a few years ago. In fact, the reason we even have the Islamic Republic is because of the United States meddling. So if you wanted something more left-leaning, the U.S. would have had to not have been involved in the first place. So there's just so much to unpack there with everything that this guy said. And he is a tool of these people. So
very well said. The way we liberate women is by liberating the working class. You guys understand? We liberate women by liberating the working class. I was one of them. I like cringe thinking about it. You know what I mean? I used to be one of the guys like, I'm a male ally. I'm a male feminist. because I supported the idea. You know what I mean? I supported the idea of women be equal, have sisters, mothers, and I supported the idea of feminism. I think most people would when presenting it. And then I grew up. then I got some experience in the world. Then I realized how white feminists, they use the distrust, and how feminism teaches women to distrust men. They use that to smear black men, and they use that to convince white people to lynch black men back in the day, when they used to accuse black men of being lustful apes who couldn't help but raping white women. That started from white feminism. And you have imperialism that will justify using not only just rainbow imperialism, but feminism as well. Iran is probably the best example of that that we can find. You know what I mean? People, oh my God, don't you know they are forced to wear headscarves? It was not even true. Like, it's very easy to get the Western liberal mind to support imperialism. All you gotta do is bring up the fact that they're not feminists. If you want to get liberals to support imperialism in Africa, all you gotta do is bring, don't you know Uganda, they got some bill targeting gay people? And all of a sudden liberals are supporting sanctioning Uganda. Like, that's how they do it, guys. And that's why I reject it. I've seen how, like, for example, I've seen how liberal women use feminism as a way to smear Palestinian men as rapists. And then the second that it was confirmed that Israel was engaging in mass rape, those feminists was nowhere to be found. So it's a fraudulent movement. It's a inherently fraudulent ideology. And if you support the idea of women having equal rights, the liberation of women, I think you got to support the liberation of the working class.